So a very good morning to you all. Going for an early morning tour this morning. Going to visit Pearl Harbour and the USS Arizona. Just waiting for my pickup. 6 o'clock in the morning here in Honolulu. Good morning to you all, and I'm going to go and look at some sights at Pearl Harbour. Alright, we'll see you down there. Just waiting for my pickup.
So you can actually start to see the battleship Missouri and the monument right out here.
These are all the different sites that you can visit here. Bowfin Submarine, Battleship Missouri, Pacific Aviation, the Arizona Memorial. Just walking in. So I've made it in with my tour group there. So it's a bit of a tour here at Pearl Harbour. We're going to take the boat out to Arizona, USS Arizona Memorial. As one of the anchors recovered. Apparently the bomb was dropped from 10,000 feet. The bomb was dropped from 10,000 feet. The memorials just out here.
Over here, buddy. Two small walls. One on the right has 7 names. Last name was added Pearl Harbor Day, the year before last. He actually passed in the early 90s. His wife insisted he be buried in the family plot. When she passed, as the family were going through the personal effects, they found the letter that said he wanted to be on the ship with the shipmates. Exhumed the body, cremated, and put it on the ship. Number 36 on the left is Mr. Glenn Lane. He's listed over here as a survivor. Glenn Lane, radio man 3rd class. Mr. Lane was blown off of 2 ships. Blown off the Arizona, swam through the oil of his life, got hauled up on the Nevada, caught his breath, boom, Nevada got hit right back into the oil. He lived at the age of 93. He was going to be a guest speaker at the 70th anniversary of his Registered business. Dan rather records the Arizona Memorial tells the story.
That's my group over there. Statue to the lone soldier. Guys just going to get our tickets, so I was just hanging around. So this is the USS Bowfin. It's one of the submarines. Pearl Harbor attack was in 1941, and the submarine was launched in 1942. 1 year later. It's called the Pearl Harbor Avenger. Then joined the war and I think took out a few Japanese boats basically afterwards. Yeah, USS Bowfin. You can go on, you have to get tickets at the main entrance. My tour doesn't include this. You can if you want to, stay behind. Anyway, USS Bowfin submarine. Very nice. Ready, it's the Arizona Memorial. So we've got about half an hour to my tour. To my actors got half an hour at leisure here to just walk around. So stay for a walk around Pearl Harbor Memorial. So that was the USS Bowfin submarine. So basically one of them was Japan. Japan invaded Manchuria in China. Japan invaded China in the 1930s. And apparently the US imposed some oil embargo because they weren't up for the Japanese invading China. And Japanese thought, how do we get around this? So there was a preemptive strike on Pearl Harbor to, yeah. So they started, and quite a few ships got sank. There's the Bowfin, the one that we saw. It's launched, Pearl Harbor was, what, December 1941? 1942. There's plaques and stuff. Let's walk you right to the other end. It's the Admiral Clary Bridge. The Waimea Mountains, the other side of Pearl Harbor. And then Ford Island is just over there. So you've got the Arizona Memorial and the USS Missouri. USS Arizona was sunk in the first half an hour of the attack. Got torpedoed. Apparently one of the bombs came from a height of 10,000 feet. They dropped the bomb to take out USS Arizona. 10,000 feet the bomb was dropped from a Japanese plane. 10,000 feet, basically ripped the front of the boat off. Sank. You can see it. I went on a helicopter tour yesterday. You can actually see the boat underwater. Yeah. Just over there. Admiral Clary Bridge. Yeah, so that's the visitor centre just straight ahead. So my tour is at 8:15. It's come early morning, yeah, before the crowds. My tour is at 8:15 for the ticket. So basically for that, they're bringing you here at like 7 o'clock in the morning. Have a coffee or something. And then yeah, just look around basically. But the ticket, it includes, there's a 20-minute video presentation in the theatre, just where I'm walking towards, in the theatre. And then they take you on a boat to the Arizona Memorial. So we've got a ferry ride as well. It's a national park, this area, but the military, the Navy still operate here. So under the jurisdiction of the US Navy here, basically. It's just a map of the area. So Pearl Harbor itself is actually on the left of the. So looking over there. Yeah, so when the Arizona was bombed, this anchor was actually on the USS Arizona. This anchor got thrown clear of the ship. That was the force of the bomb. Visitor centre and stuff. Just get past these people. Yeah, the theatre's just up there. That's the theatre where the show is. Let's keep walking. Yeah, to get some gift shops and restaurants up there and get a coffee. Theatre's up there, 20-minute show, and then we'll be taking a ferry out to the Arizona Memorial, just over there. A lasting legacy. Japan and USA are like best of friends now, right? War, that's what happens after war, right? Do you think Japan and USA are like best of mates? Yeah. That's what it seems. That's Bowfin again. That's what a submarine looks like in 1942. There's the Waimea Mountains in the distance. Hawaii. See the black lava? The black rocks. It's a volcanic island. Yeah. There's a name board here with the names of some of the victims, which I won't show you, but I'll show you this sequence of attacks in the harbour. It's all numbered. Came in 3 waves apparently. Came in 3 waves, and it's all numbered, yeah. There's names of various sailors. USS Arizona was 1,176 sailors died. Oklahoma 480, something like that. Over 2,000 people died here. Not sure about Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Get you over here. Okay, local time is 7:30 in the morning. I actually arrived at 7:30 in the morning yesterday. 24 hours I've been here. I arrived yesterday at 7:30 in Scoot. There's an aeroplane coming into land. I was sitting on the left side of the plane. I saw this, yeah. I saw a submarine pulling into Pearl Harbor. See what this aeroplane is? This is how I got here yesterday morning. Might be Scoot. 787 Dreamliner. You see an aeroplane there. It's too far to pick out the name on the side. No, Pearl Harbor is that one on the left. This one is the Contemplation Circle. Okay, so it's a walk along Harbour's edge. Watch this aeroplane coming into land. Might be Scoot, how I got here 24 hours ago. See if we can pick it out. It's going to Honolulu Airport. Let's check first. That's Pearl Harbor on the left. This is Missouri, Arizona Memorial. It's Ford Island is on the other side there. It's Ford Island. See for the show and then the boat ride. Okay, let's do it. Another plane coming in. Walk around one of these exhibits. Some of the people are there.
かで運ぶ競争だとか、ね、そういうようなステイの遊戯というのは一切なくなりました。私、女学校に入学するときはセーラー服ってこれね、背が入るからそれが1年だったらもうそれは国国のあれですから皆さん日本の一枚入りの洋服に買いなさいそう言ってね全部買いなさいはい、つまりなんて言ってた自分はあれやらずにねその戦争というのは日本の帯の外の出来事でした。私は17年はね。ただ17年の4月に東京初めて空襲1回だけ会ってるんですよね。それを皆さんに言うから
Ready for the show. Our show is at 8:15. Another exhibit in here. Another exhibit here. It's just about the actual attacks. There's the defenses.
Red coals below. The battleships West Virginia and Oklahoma each took 9 in the gun. 2 more blasted California. Another struck Nevada. Oklahoma listed sharply. Water rose. Emergency lights went out. Men trapped below cried out in darkness. Above them, more torpedoes slammed home.
Engine. That's what lies under the water. That's what you see when you go in a helicopter tour. Yeah, we just had the theatre show. Can't be doing the theatre. Can't be doing the theatre, so we're going to take this boat out to the memorial.
Today, the U.S. Navy and the National Park Service will take you on a harbor tour of Pearl Harbor and bring you close to the USS Arizona Memorial and the valiant ship that lies beneath. We are now in the South Channel of Pearl Harbor, where the infamous Battleship Row was once located along the southern coast of Ford Island and off the bow of the boat as we cross the harbor. It is here that the great warships of America's Pacific Fleet were moored on the morning of December 7, 1941. From right to left, there was the USS Nevada, Arizona, the repair ship Vestal, the Tennessee, West Virginia, Maryland, Oklahoma, and a bit farther down, the California. An 8th battleship, Pennsylvania, was nearby in dry dock undergoing repairs. The battleship Utah still rests on the bottom of the harbor, in a short distance from shore on the opposite side of Ford Island. The mighty battleships were the backbone of the Pacific Fleet, and each boasted a crew of nearly 1,500 men. In all, almost 200 American vessels were located in Pearl Harbor that day.
Enter a boat ride around.
Off the starboard bow, or right front, of the boat, you can still see the white concrete mooring keys that continue to display some of these names. The battleships that came to Pearl Harbor back then did not drop anchor to secure their position. Instead, they were tied to these white concrete blocks, which were built in the 1930s. The Pacific Fleet tended to tie two ships together, one inboard, closest to the keys, and one outboard. The mooring key closest to the bridge was reserved for the USS Nevada. The Nevada was the only battleship to get underway during the attack on Oahu. She pulled out just before 9 o'clock, after the first wave of planes had left, and valiantly headed towards the sea. At the same time, Japanese planes from the second wave were flying over Diamond Head on the southeast side of the island to continue the attack on Pearl Harbor. As they arrived, they saw this great warship moving out of the harbor and began to attack. She was badly damaged by Japanese dive bombers and torpedo planes, and eventually was purposely run aground on a coral ledge to avoid sinking. Almost 60 USS Nevada crew members lost their lives in a short time. Despite this great sacrifice, Nevada's attempted exit was met with cheers from other sailors and Marines witnessing the attack, and served as a morale boost for many. Following an extensive salvage operation, the USS Nevada's guns boomed once again as she provided fire support for Americans who stormed the beaches of Normandy, southern France, Iwo Jima, and Okinawa. Continuing on, the attack on Pearl Harbor began at 7:55 a.m., with torpedo planes coming in waves from both the north and south, while flying at an altitude of only 30 feet. The first few torpedoes slammed into the hull of the USS Oklahoma, exactly in the spot where the battleship Missouri is today. Oklahoma began to tilt, and in less than 12 minutes, she had completely rolled over, only stopping when her masts hit the bottom of the harbor. She had taken as many as 8 torpedo hits on her port or left side. This was a crippling blow, and consequently 429 sailors and Marines were lost on the Oklahoma. A memorial dedicated to these men was erected on the shoreline, where many of her crew first set foot on Hawaiian soil years ago. The West Virginia, Tennessee, Maryland, California, and Pennsylvania were all damaged to varying degrees during the attack, losing almost 250 crew members among them. Despite sustaining serious damage and settling to the harbor floor following the attack, the West Virginia and California were salvaged and put back into service as well. Both of them would play a vital role in the coming conflict in the Pacific. On December 7, 1941, the USS Arizona was moored here next to the USS Vestal, a smaller repair ship. At 7:55 a.m., the ship's air raid alarm went off, and the ship soon went to general quarters, the call for all hands to go to their battle stations immediately. For the next 10 minutes, the men of the Arizona endured strafing from incoming Japanese planes and bombs from Nakajima B-5N Kate torpedo bombers, which carried armor-piercing shells modified into 800 kilogram or 1,750-pound bombs. At 8:06 a.m., a fatal blow struck the Arizona. The Japanese bomb cut through the deck in the vicinity of gun turret number 2, which would have been about 200 feet to the left of the memorial. Seconds later, it detonated the ammunition magazines located in the forward section of the ship. The result was a massive explosion that tore the ship in half and set off a fire that burned for more than 2 days and consumed 1,177 members of Arizona's crew. Over 900 men remain entombed on the Arizona today. The loss of life on the Arizona accounts for approximately half of all the lives lost during the attack. This includes every member of the heralded USS Arizona Band, 23 sets of brothers, and even a father and his son. The mighty Arizona was just over 600 feet long in her day, about the length of 2 American football fields. Although she would never be returned to service, 2 of Arizona's gun turrets were salvaged for later use as coastal defenses. On December 6, 1941, just one day before the attack, the USS Arizona had taken on almost 1.4 million gallons of fuel oil in preparation for an upcoming trip to the mainland. Much of that oil caught fire and burned following the attack. However, the fuel that remains slowly leaks from the wreckage at a rate of about 1 to 2 gallons per day. The National Park Service and the U.S. Navy carefully monitor the site, but at this time, the oil leakage poses no environmental hazard. The Arizona Survivors Association has referred to these surfacing drops of oil as the black tears of the Arizona. Although there is no way of knowing how long the oil will seep out, many believe that the ship will continue to cry these black tears until the last survivor of the USS Arizona passes on. The USS Arizona Memorial is 184 feet long and is suspended directly over, but not touching, the wreckage of the USS Arizona. It was completed in 1962 and dedicated on Memorial Day that year. The designer and architect was Alfred Price, who created 3 main parts: the entry room, assembly room, and shrine room. You'll notice that the memorial has 2 peaks on each end and sags in the center. Mr. Price stated that his design represented American pride before the attack, the sudden depression that followed it, and America's eventual rise to victory at the end of the war. At the very back of the memorial, nearest to Fort Island, is the shrine room. Covering its back wall are the names of 1,177 American servicemen who died on board. That is the largest loss of life of any ship in American naval history. 2 separate sections display the names of USS Arizona survivors who later chose to be returned to the ship following their passing. Any surviving crew member of the USS Arizona who was assigned to the ship on December 7th can elect to have their ashes placed within the wreck. To date, over 40 men have already rejoined their shipmates on board. It's important to remember that this wasn't just an attack on Pearl Harbor. It was an attack on all of Oahu. 15 minutes before the assault here, Japanese aircraft struck all the military airfields around the island and neutralized American air power. Within the next 15 minutes, they neutralized American naval power here as well. This devastating blow cost the Japanese 29 planes and 56 airmen. On December 7, 1941, Pearl Harbor witnessed the dawn of a new era. As World War II came to American shores, men and women fought and died side by side. Many of them remain in these waters and in the surrounding landscapes for eternity. We, the living, are left to understand their story, remember their sacrifice, and honor their memory. As we return to the Visitor Center, we ask that you remain seated as the U.S. Navy brings the boat to the dock. If you have any questions, please find a park ranger or volunteer here at the Visitor Center, and they'll be happy to answer your questions. On behalf of the National Park Service and the U.S. Navy, thank you for visiting Pearl Harbor. We hope you enjoy the remainder of your visit and wish you farewell.
take some photos then. Visitor Center and the bus back to the Ritz-Carlton. It's the plan. concludes our visit here. It's okay, you go ahead. It's fine.
She's resting a minute. You go ahead.